Pumpkin seeds, baby, pumpkin seeds. Home saved from pumpkins I grew at my own allotment a few years ago. Going to be growing some of those once again this year. Wonderful crops to grow, really entertaining, great fun to look at, really ornamental as well. You can make food out of them, you can make lanterns out of them, soups, absolutely brilliant and relatively easy to grow. Children love growing them as well. Loads of nutrition, good for general health, digestive health, etc. Grow your pumpkins, and what can be more fun in gardening than that? So, Dan here, welcome to Essex, South East UK. So today I'm going to be making a video and we're going to be talking quite a bit about the subject of general health and of course linking it in with gardening, because gardening can be a great part of general health for nutrition, for mental health benefits and overall enjoyment of life as well. So many of you may be aware that I've had my own health challenge of late, and that's now in the past, I'm glad to say. But whilst I was off, it made me do quite a bit of reflection on maybe some of my own lifestyle choices and how I could improve certain things I'm doing in order to live a much healthier life. And of course, being in the position here where I have quite a productive garden with good soil which I've worked on over time, etc., it leaves me in quite a good position in order to grow some lovely, productive, nutritious crops for that. So, one report I read whilst I was off about the UK workforce losing its productivity due to physical, mental health, etc., etc. So I'm not going to talk too much about the individual reports on this video, but if you want to do your own research, you indeed can. There's plenty out there. Just put it into Google or something. I dare say if you're in the workplace yourself, it won't take you long to look about to see people suffering from general health problems, whether physical or mental health, etc., etc. And of course, it's very sad, and it really is a shame. When I was off healing from my hernia, you know, I was thinking, blimey, I really, should really be at work, to be honest, doing things, but the time off was good, enabled me to reflect. So let's talk a little bit about a few crops that we could grow for general health, and they're relatively easy to grow, to be honest, everything I'm going to be talking about today. So carrots, I love growing carrots. They're rich in vitamins A and C. So vitamin A has been linked to people having good eyesight, hence this sort of old-fashioned saying that carrots help you see in the dark. Very nutritious to eat, very versatile, great fun to grow. I'm going to be growing a variety called Championship Stock this year, and I'm going to be growing the majority of my carrots in these two tubs here. Cucumbers, so I love growing cucumbers. So the variety I have here is Marketmore. An outdoor cucumber, grows very well outside around here. This is USDA Zone 8B, and if you're growing these in a similar climate, they should do just as well. So you can grow them in containers or in the ground. So they're rich in vitamin C, and they're also very good for hydration. So for those of you that are working in hot working conditions, either inside or outside, or maybe you're an athlete, you like jogging or whatever, cucumber is a great easy crop to grow with many benefits for your general health. Climbing French beans, I have a variety here called Neckar Gold. Very nice, I've grown them the last few years. They're a beautiful yellow bean which doesn't seem to get tough even when they get quite large, so that's wonderful. Climbing French beans are rich in manganese, which is very good for healthy bones. We want nice, strong, healthy bones, which will hopefully protect us to a degree from fractures and bone degeneration as we get older. So, manganese rich, climbing French beans, grow those. Melons, so melons absolutely rock. Many of you may be aware of how fond I am of growing melons. I'm going to be growing some in this very polytunnel this year, really good. You can grow them in the ground or you can grow them in containers as well. And they're actually rich, or watermelons anyway, in something called lycopene, which is good to protect from disease. Melons are also very hydrating as well. So once again, if you're working hard out in the garden or inside, sweating a lot, whatever, you're an athlete, melons, watermelon, etc. Look into eating and growing plenty of those because they're great fun, great tasting, and children, of course, will love these as well. Nice and sweet, etc. Growing melons, add that to your list. Well, hello there. Broad beans, now these absolutely rock. Look at those. This is variety Aquadulture Claudia, which I actually planted on the 3rd of February Look at those. I germinated them inside and then brought them out here a few weeks or so later. Absolutely lovely. Look at those. So broad beans, they're rich in something called L-dopa, which some sources suggest may be good for those who are suffering from Parkinson's disease. So broad beans, easy to grow. You can plant them relatively early in the year. This is variety, as I stated, Aquadulture Claudia, which is generally the variety recommended for overwintering here in the UK, hardy down to about -10°C. So isn't that wonderful? Broad beans, stick them on your list for general health. They grow very well in the ground. My preferred method of growing broad beans actually is in containers, of which they seem to do very well in those. Peas. Now peas are absolutely beautiful. I'm sure that to the vast majority of you out there love picking fresh peas and eating them. Just as you picked them off the vine, you break the shell open and in there, beautiful, sweet, delicious peas. So variety here called Champion of England can grow quite tall actually, about 6 to 8 feet. So that's quite interesting. Now, I initially planted these on the 11th of February and then I brought them out probably about a week or so ago into the polytunnel there. I germinated them inside where it was warmer and then they've been in there ever since. And the reason why I've done that is simply because they were starting to go leggy growing inside, and you can see that. I want them to get a bit more sturdy, and so being in the polytunnel, these are fully weather resistant round here, no problem, even if we get frosts, of which we've had a few in the last week or so, no problem at all. So very nice, very good for heart health. And if you're interested in a bit of gardening cultivation history, look at peas and how long they've been cultivated for and the importance of them within the diet of people of the past and current. Oh, and before I forget, a lot of people don't like vegetables, do they? But you quite often find that those who don't like vegetables, really, they do like peas as well. And isn't that wonderful? Well, peaches and nectarines. Many of you are very well aware of how much I adore growing peaches and nectarines. So I've got 2 trees here. This is peach variety Peregrine, and at the back here I have nectarine variety Lord Napier. And these are traditional UK varieties to grow, and peaches in Chinese traditional medicine are said to help to regulate qi. We all like to regulate a little bit of qi, don't we? And they're also known to promote healthy digestion. So isn't that wonderful? As well as all that, they taste great and they're just beautiful. And when these buds burst, which is not going to be long now, because I can see the lovely pink is well and truly showing now, a lovely, beautiful ornamental tree as well, followed by delicious fruit. And some of you may say, Dan, why are you growing trees in a polytunnel? And the reason why I do this is to prevent peach leaf curl. You do not want peach leaf curl, absolutely horrible disease, which could quite often lead to a very unhealthy, sickly looking tree, low productivity, if any, and death of the tree. And peach leaf curl is basically caused by the trees getting wet during the winter months and the temperature dropping below about 16°C, 61°F, which in a country climate, etc., such as the UK, is basically guaranteed to happen. So what I do is I protect them from rainfall year round. I couldn't be dealing with having a tree outside and having to cover it up at certain times of the year and then having to uncover it again. Too much aggravation for me, so I just protect them year round in here. So there we are, peaches and nectarines, great crops to grow, great fun, everybody loves them, and as long as you protect from peach leaf curl, you can grow them very easily here in the UK or a similar climate. Hang on, don't go anywhere yet. Ain't finished yet, I'm not that boring, am I? So, I hope I'm not. So here what we got is cabbage. This is variety earliest of all, which I planted on the 31st of January. I'm sturdying them up a little bit at the moment. They've had a bit of an attack by the slugs, or snails rather, or both. I'll get these through, no problem. So, cabbage, a great crop to grow. This variety earliest of all. You can get some quite early harvests if you grow this variety with a nice early planting. So that's very nice indeed. Now, I actually read a bit about cabbage, and apparently in Polish folk medicine, they have been used as an anti-inflammatory. So there we are. If you think about inflammatory conditions, arthritis, etc., etc., if eating a bit of cabbage helps with those, that might be something that you might like to have a look up on. And very nice tasting as well, versatile, boil, steam, you can do what you want with it really with regards to cooking it. Put it in soup as long as you eat it. Isn't that wonderful, eh? Cabbage. So here we are. The other day I cooked myself a lovely sagaloo. So I've actually before written myself off as a hopeless cook, but I am in the process of rectifying that, learning how to cook beautiful healthy dishes, and did a YouTube video, looked up a YouTube video on how to make sagaloo, and I did it, and it actually tasted rather delicious indeed. So 2 ingredients of sagaloo. So spinach. Now this here is actually perpetual spinach, otherwise known as leaf beet chard. It's not actually technically true spinach, but it's often used as a spinach substitute, and that's what I used. I've got some growing down there. So grows very easily indeed, rich in vitamins such as A, C and K, and I have read actually it could help to protect against dementia. So if that's not a good reason to eat perpetual spinach, Swiss chard, etc, then I really don't know what is. And here I have potatoes. So I've got 2 different varieties here. Got Rocket, which is a first early, otherwise known as a determinate potato, and here Maris Piper, otherwise known, as a main crop potato. You plant them about the same time, but generally these will come first and these will come later in the season. And this next brings me on to the subject of choices. So a lot of all this healthy eating stuff can get quite overwhelming, and some people might get a little bit, oh, I can't be bothered with all that. And that's how I was for quite some time. But a lot of it, as I stated, is about choices. And what you do, or what you can do, is work very small, make small little adjustments. You do not have to go 100% in, and in fact that probably would be quite a bad and unrealistic thing to do. So I'll tell you something I do. Now, you heard earlier about my love for chips, and indeed, you know, being brought up in the UK, chips are quite a big, lovely fast food that we do adore. So Maris Piper potatoes, now quite often used for chips. Look at those, they're absolutely gorgeous indeed. Now, one way I've been making chips is leaving the skin on. So potatoes, rich in vitamin C, in fact, are very important still, of course, in the prevention of scurvy, which can be caused by vitamin C deficiency. So I leave the skin on, and I shallow fry them in coconut oil. So what I've got here, 100% pure cold pressed extra, yes, 100% pure cold pressed virgin coconut oil. Now I got this one from the Caribbean shop. Majority of supermarkets, I imagine, sell them. You can probably get it on Amazon. I've seen it in, I think it was Aldi's or Lidl's, seen it there before. And so that is, of course, you know, generally considered, or at least I've read, a potentially healthier way of eating chips. So of course I'm not a nutritionist, so you need to do your own research. I always say to people, do your own research. It's a very important thing to do, especially how the world is today. So we'll talk again about choices, and also the fact that you really don't have to grow everything you're going to eat. I certainly don't. The majority of people out there certainly don't, and it's a totally unrealistic aim for the vast majority of people. But that doesn't mean that you can't have a big part of it from your own efforts, or even a small part. It's all relevant, it's all good, it's all going the right way. So cherry tree here, variety Stella. Now, many of you have seen how productive this has been over the years. It's a relatively small tree on a minaret vertical cordon rootstock, grows beautiful. But of course it provides you with cherries only for a very small time of the year. But here you go, look, cherries, dark sweet cherries. Here they are, got these from Aldi, there we are. It's good to get organic if you can, can't always, don't let perfection get in the way of the good though. Probably better to eat these than it is to eat a packet of biscuits, I'd probably say. Plantains, got these from the local Caribbean shop. I guess these are rich in potassium, like bananas are, very good for electrolytes, regulation of heartbeat, etc, etc. Look into the benefits of potassium. Certain people, of course, have to be mindful of certain minerals they're consuming because of health conditions they may have. I'll leave that up to you to look at, as always. And plantains, now very good to mash up like bananas. You can then freeze them and you can mash up some fruit like this. So what we've got here, we've got 4 berry medley. There we are. Many of you are aware of all the soft fruit I've got growing here. Once again, I'm certainly not self-sufficient on that in any way, but the aim is this year to grow a lot more. But you know, I go to the shops, but ideally organic is better if possible. But I very much go for the, you know, don't let perfection get in the way of the good, because if you try and do everything perfect all the time, you understand what can quite often happen. Health benefits, of course, cherries, they've been linked to being very good for gout sufferers. Gout, of course, on the increase now, particularly among younger people. More reading for you. But yeah, you really can do a lot for your own general health and the health of others with good nutrition. Plantains, I quite often like to fry them up with a bit of coconut oil once again, and they too, along with a bit of fruit, can make a beautiful dessert after your dinner. So I'm just enjoying my daffs over here. They're looking absolutely wonderful, and some beautiful crocuses as well, and here I am amongst my fruit trees. Absolutely gorgeous. So another little crop I'm going to be growing, this year is going to be runner beans. Now, the majority of people love runner beans, though of course you get those people that do not like vegetables in general, but many of them do like runner beans and peas. So there we are. If you are a person yourself who has this status, or you know someone who is a bit resistant to the consumption of vegetables, you could consider runner beans. Runner beans and peas, as mentioned earlier, tend to do very well. Rich in vitamin C. Look up the health benefits of vitamin C. Circulation, good immune system, absolutely beautiful. And it's found in runner beans. So isn't that brilliant? And that concludes our video. Thank you very much for your time. Hope you enjoyed that video. Comments, questions, please feel free to post below, and I'll see you in the next one. You all know I appreciate your time, don't you? See you all soon.